Hello.
Hello, Facebook.
And Insta.
Hello, Insta.
Insta-fabulous.
Insta-fabulous. Cool. It says, do you want to tag Kira Mamula in this video?
Yes, please.
Done and done. Alright.
La la la.
We are...
Oh, we're back.
Back
for another edition. Is this 10?
10.
Dude, crazy.
10.
I just like wearing the headphones. I feel like DJ.
I know, right?
How do they do it?
Wow. I love how it's great. The sound. Hey, you like spin.
It is this way.
Oh, okay.
We're so dirty.
Good times, though.
Holy cow.
Nonetheless.
Yes, come closer to
this
me.
way. Oh.
This is my brother from a different mother.
Brother and sister. Episode 10. Launch Radio.
Welcome back.
Geoff and Kira. Off and running. We're guest-less again today, but we're going to talk about something really cool.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. And I saw Geoff, I don't know why we didn't do this earlier, but I was reading a few articles about the... Wow, Hunter, what are you doing? Sorry, my dog is like underneath the table being really weird. He's not throwing up, that'd be gross. Anyways, I was telling Geoff how there's so many cool things coming out, especially when it comes to AI. And CES was back in January. CES, for all of you out there, is the Consumer Electronics Show out in Vegas. They have it every year, and they have the dopest shit that comes out. And it's all this like flying cars and like really amazing stuff. But a lot of stuff does, actually launches.
Amazing things about CES.
Yeah, and I've never been able to go, but a lot of companies have massive presence there, like Google and etc. And as we progress into society and into what we have in terms of consumer products, there's an overall trend going on where the products that are coming out make your life that much easier. So, for example, Google Assistant Connect is what was massive. Apparently, Google had this they blanketed themselves all over CES. And Google Assistant Connect is the assistant part of Google where, you ask a question, it helps you, but now any developer is able to take that technology and put it into any product. So what that means, in layman's terms, is you can say, hey Google, can you make me coffee? And you can be still sitting in your chair while your coffee maker turns on. Or you could be shopping for groceries and then ask your phone, I need to see what's in my refrigerator. And there's a camera in refrigerators now to tell you what is in there.
I mean, this is just crazy.
It's kind of mind-blowing. I mean, it's amazing and it's all happening right now. All of this is kind of like available and it's coming out.
So we decided, given CES, and we touched on this in some other podcasts before, but we really wanted to do one that was focused on AI and what it's doing in 2019 and how it's influencing the world and where things are going with it.
And the positives and negatives with it, because with anything, any new technology, there's no parameters around it.
Yeah.
So you can, just like the internet, when the internet came out, nobody thought about malware. Nobody even thought about, all the stuff. There's no one policing any of it. It's just like free willy, create a robot that does whatever, I was telling Geoff before we started that my Google Home, I have 2 Google Homes in my place, and I can say, hey Google, can you turn my car on? And it will literally turn my car on. And is that a good thing? Maybe, yeah, if you're in the Northeast and it's snowing and you want to turn your car on for heat or whatever, but at the same time, someone could steal my car. So it's things like that we don't realize that are coming into this AI type of thing. Are you okay?
100%. I lost audio for a second. Is the cord on this stuff?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
Are you not hearing it through the...
Lost audio. It's okay.
Oh.
I'll edit this bit out. Anyway. I don't know why.
Oh.
There we go. That's better. Perfect. Technical difficulties. Anyway.
Did you hear anything I was saying, or were you more concerned about your headphones?
A bit of both. But I did hear what you were saying. So my thought on that is that I think that yes, that is happening, and it's interesting to see, and that's also why we wanted to have this topic today, was because we want to see where that's going, and to a lot of people it's scary because they don't know what all that means. And I think that one way, you mentioned regulations, because we have
you don't know where that data's going.
You don't know anything, and one thing I would mention is cool.
You keep talking.
All right, is Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Maybe 5 or 6 months ago, and he talked about how
disaster.
He talked about we're having fun. Woo! He talked about how how a good example of regulations was seatbelts, and it took the government a long time, years and years actually, like more than a decade, to finally understand that we needed laws as far as seatbelts. And his point was that with AI, we're not going to have we're not going to have that long. Right. We're not going to have that much time, because the genie is coming out of the bottle. It's already out. But it's going to keep exponentially getting bigger and bigger and growing. And like seatbelts, it's going to need some type of regulations. And he was saying, in regards to that, that a few years ago, he met with Obama, and he met with all 50 governors, and he told them about his concern back then, which he was more concerned back then. He now has more of a fatalistic attitude.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But he warned them, and they all kind of said, they listened, but they didn't really quite know what to do, and they agreed that perhaps they could form some type of a committee where they could form to regulate this and keep an eye on it, because it's a large scope. There's all sorts of layers and different forms of it.
Yeah, and there's new stuff coming out. And I was telling Geoff, it's like the more things that come out where you just don't have to leave your house. I mean, you just sit there and everything literally comes to you. Yeah. To the point where you've got at CES a robot that follows you around. That's your luggage through the airport. So you don't even have to touch your luggage anymore. I mean, I feel like I don't know if you guys have seen the movie WALL-E. It's the most amazing Pixar movie, but I have a feeling we're kind of turning into those like next level human beings that sit in their chair and they're completely overweight because they're not moving, they don't have to, and everything's in front of them. Like, you need water, comes into your food right here, it's instant gratification, and you're sitting there doing absolutely nothing. I feel like WALL-E, I swear to God, in like a next couple of years, as much as that's like an amazing movie, it's going to be a kind of a reality because we're getting real close.
Well, and WALL-E was 11 years ago. The library value of that,
incredible,
and where it's going to go, very powerful. And I think that as far as how we connect with the AI, and you talk about these robots and such at CES and such, but there's also the whole our brain and what's happening with AI as far as search engines and social media and algorithms, and like literally, and Elon Musk was saying this too, was Google search is becoming a snapshot of our limbic system, because everything we're curious about, or we want, or we need, or whatever, we put into that.
Right. So
Google and the other systems are learning more and more and more all the time.
Right.
And it's kind of becoming this giant entity that knows everything about everyone.
Right.
And, your phone, same thing. Our phones are now attached to us literally. And our phones and our computers, especially our phones, make us much smarter than without them now. People forget now, nowadays, if you don't have your phone, people really forget how different it is to have your phone versus not.
Try to lose your phone for a day, or you just leave it at home, and good luck trying to get through, the world. It's a struggle.
I mean, it's a struggle in every way, but you're also just much smarter with your phone. You can do any calculation, can answer any question.
Now with that, I'll challenge you on that in the sense that, do you feel that it's making us smarter, or do you feel like the information's getting to us so quick that we're not really absorbing the information? It's just blanket information being into our brain. We can't remember and consume everything that we're getting from Google. So I don't know how much learning or how much development the brain is actually, brain is a muscle. You have to work it. You have to do things to, like any muscle, right?
Are we still taking in information like we used to? Are we still
Correct.
actually
Are we
learning?
still having to work and learn? Or are we just hey, Google, can you tell me, blah, blah, blah. It just feeds you the information like you're just being fed like a child.
Yeah. I think that depends on the person. I think that some people are more into learning and into knowing for themselves, while other people will just default to it every time. And that's the dangerous part, is people just not trying to expand themselves as humans, grow themselves, keep doing that because they now can default to the technology.
And I think for the conspiracy theorists out there, and there's legitimate, claims with it of what are you doing with my data? And I know when I worked at Google, privacy is very, very important there. And they keep it lock and key, and they're very, very tight with that kind of stuff. They have massive data warehouses all over the world, where they just store data, but they're not storing anyone's personal information. It's called PII, personal identifiable information. So Google does not hold on to that information. They're very, very, very serious about that, where they don't want to know who you are.
Wow.
They're really, really, really serious, because one of their tenets of the company is do no evil. And they take that to heart, where they don't want to just take the data and then just do something with it that's illegal or whatever. So they don't take in any of your personal identifiable information.
That's really interesting.
So yeah, they have a very tough stance and a very, very strong stance on not knowing who you are or not using that information. Wow. What they do know is geographically, maybe your interests by your search, and then they'll put you in a bucket, and then Toyota or Honda or LG TV serves you advertising based upon your interests.
Right.
That's the only thing they want to do with your data is okay, advertising. You like this, so we're gonna serve you an advertisement that you would like, not just random ads.
Right.
That's the whole point.
Just in the general, they're collecting. You're saying the data they're collecting from your behavior online.
Correct.
Your search engines. Okay, yeah, I knew that. And literally, if you're online searching for a lawnmower, literally, you'll start seeing things in your social media or on Google or on Amazon that pertain to lawnmowers.
Which, if you think about it, would you want to see advertisement? You're going to see advertisements anyways. They rule the world. Advertising rules the world. If you don't think that, I don't know where you've been. But advertising literally rules the world. Everywhere. So, would you rather see advertising about a lawnmower, or would you rather see things about baby food? You're I don't have a kid. So the whole point is to make it much more defined for you, for your own consumption.
Right.
And make it more personalized
Tailored
to
to
what
you.
you would like. Exactly.
Tailored
Now,
to
the flip side of that is like ancestry DNA. You know, there are people who refuse to do ancestry DNA because, you're giving a company your DNA, and yes, there's all kinds of privacy statements and everything, but people are like, maybe you're going to take my DNA and ship it off to Mars and create a new population. So there's that type of how much data is too much, and how much is AI too much into our lives. You know, is there a boundary?
And yeah, it's a good question. And another thing that pertains to the ancestry is there's now apps. There's an app called Replica where you can literally talk to it. You can text with it, and it will. Hello, buddy.
Or the cat.
And and it will literally give you advice. It will learn about you. It will tell you about yourself. Like literally, it's like a friend in text. And it's called Replica with a K. If you just Google Replica with a K, it'll come up. But she wants to be a guest on the podcast.
Did you see her nails, by the way?
Fancy.
I had them put caps on them.
Wow.
Not to change subject, we are talking about AI, but this is bonkers. You know, in the past, you had to declaw your cats, which is actually really inhumane. Or your cat would just ruin your furniture. Now they make these things where you glue it onto their nail. And they didn't have clear, so they had green. So she has green nails on today.
That's amazing.
And they last for like months, which is great. Anyways,
she's in high style.
She just wanted to say hi, then the princess goes. It's Princess Ivy.
Princess Ivy's, paying us a visit today. Anyway.
So
Replica and other apps like it, where literally you text with the AI. It feels like you're texting with a friend or with a person or with somebody on the other end. You're literally texting with them, and it's actually an AI that you can talk to it about anything, life topics.
Jeff was showing this to me before we got on the podcast, and I'm like, this is bonkers. I mean, like, really scary shit. And it's been out for like a year or so, and I've never heard of it. It's Replica with a K, and it's an app you download. It's free. It's like a friend. It's a robot, and it knows a lot about you, like more than
people are comfortable with. It's literally, but it feels like you're just texting with a friend. But anything you're telling it, you're like entering this information onto some cyber cloud.
It's an algorithm. It learns who you are, and then it starts to become you.
Literally. Well, that's their logline too. Is like the AI that becomes you. Like, it's learning so much about you that it's literally like reflecting yourself. It's reflecting yourself back to you.
I don't know. I just feel like, yes, I love technology. I mean, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
The one thing I do get concerned about is humans are social beings.
Mm-hmm.
And with all the texting and I use Marco Polo now, which is a video type chat instead of, now you don't even have to see anyone in person. So I almost feel like, is this doing humans a disservice to the point where we don't need to interact with anyone else? You don't need ever, because everything comes to us. I don't need to engage with you one-on-one or be in the same room. And you lose that type of interaction that human beings are supposed to, as social beings, supposed to have.
Yes, that's where it's going, and it's already gone that way dramatically.
Right.
And it brings up that question, but nothing is going is stop this from
it's
accelerating right now.
Oh yeah, it's a train. It's already taken off.
And it is scary. It's scary in some ways. It's also, who knows where it will go inevitably. But the interesting thing about it is it's going to continue to accelerate. It's going to get so good that literally a futuristic version of you will exist all in AI, all online. There will be an AI Kira in the future. That's what's going. Where literally, like, if your biological self dies, you can upload yourself like into a computer.
Okay, that's.
That.
I'm sorry, but like, blowing my head right now.
That's where it's going. And
this is like Mandela, where I'm gonna have to take a fucking nap after this podcast, where my head explodes, Geoff, because you're taking it to a whole other realm where you're like, here, you're gonna exist.
Yeah.
Your human body's dead in the ground.
Yeah.
But you will exist in a digital form.
You'll be able to upload yourself in the computer. I love like just
I don't have time to take a
Kira's
nap
mind.
after this.
Yeah, she's gonna have to.
My head is exploding again.
Yes, and
where did you read this from?
Well, Elon Musk talks about
this,
but it's also online. I mean, it's pretty well known that you know, as it continues to accelerate, that's what's going to happen because we're already putting ourselves online. We're already doing it.
Right. We're creating our own persona. The replica is basically what that is.
Yes.
The more you talk to it, the more it learns who you are, and then it's creating you into the sphere.
And everything anyone puts on YouTube or on, you know, any social media videos, on Facebook video and everything, those are all, that's an AI, it's an AI version of you. Like it's you, but it's an AI. And what can happen is the more you do that, the more AI in the future will be able to learn about you.
Right.
And after your biological self is passed away, if they have enough information, it'll be able to create off of that AI versions of you that can talk to people through a computer.
You know what this reminds me of? You know, like a Coachella years ago, where they had this Tupac show up while Snoop Dogg, the hologram.
Yeah.
And it was like, people were losing their shit because it looked super real, and you're like, oh my god, is he back from the dead? I remember seeing videos of it. I wasn't there, but people were like screaming, like thought Elvis had just come back to life kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, it was a hologram, but they were able to have it. So I wonder if at some point, though you may lose a loved one, that person may not truly be gone. You could maybe have a conversation with that person from an AI perspective, because AI will know so much about you that you'll have a robot that will be talking in your voice, whether texting or whatever, so you'll never actually lose that person.
That's how...
Isn't that Her? Isn't that movie with
Yes.
Joaquin? That's like the whole...
And it's also how Replica started. Like, somebody died and like, somebody had an idea, I wish I could bring them back. And it was through the app that they started texting with someone who was already... Imagine texting with like a relative. That's terrible.
That's
like
what I
passed
mean.
away. Yeah.
Like, if your mother or father passed away, you could continue talking to them.
That's right. Through text. That's where it's going.
I mean, I don't know, guys. What do you guys think? I would be highly intrigued to know what you guys think about this, because I think one side of me is like, that's freaking cool. And then the other side of me is like, oh man, are we dabbling in something that we should not be dabbling in? You know what I mean? Like, are we getting into a zone where we're not supposed to be touching this shit?
And it's not just text, it's video. So eventually it'll go when we're not quite there yet, but video, you'll be able to talk to people who passed away via video. Literally. They can already, there's websites, what's that website they do? There's websites that can replicate your voice. Have you heard about this?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can send someone, it literally will, if you type your voice into the computer, it'll then say it in your voice. So it's just you talking. So I have software at home where like I can type like, hey, how you doing? My name's Geoff, and it'll be my voice, but I'm not saying it.
Do you know how scary that is?
Yeah.
Because someone could hack in and then use your voice and say yes or no to credit cards, use your, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's an app, I think it's called Bird. But there's an app that everybody, literally, and it can do celebrities' voice. It can do like Obama's voice, and it can do like, you can type whatever you want in there, and it'll talk in their voice.
That's creepy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Though I am going to download Replica, I think, today.
You guys got to check these out. I mean, this is the future of AI and tech.
Don't mind me.
But yeah, there's voice, there's videos going to happen eventually. You know, there's texting. We have texting already right now with apps like Replica. The voice one's pretty crazy, and then just all of this is scary, but it's going to continue to accelerate, and it's going to get to a point where, because we've all companies that exist are already cybernetic collectives. They're a group of people in AI working together, and as Google and the social media, as they continue to networks, as they continue to collect information about our limbic resonance, what we want, what we need, through the algorithms, as that continues to accelerate, it's eventually going to get to a point where we're going to have to figure out how AI incorporates with humans, and how, because we're already cyborgs. I actually wrote an article about that, but our phone is an extension of us. We're already cyborgs, without that. But and Elon was talking about how we have our cortex in our brain, which is like thinking, and then we have our limbic system, which is feelings and emotions and everything there. And we think that our cortex, that our thinking is running the show, but it's really not. It's really our limbic system that's running the show. And he was talking about how
some more than others.
Some more than others.
Just kidding.
That is true. And funny. But he was saying how somehow we're gonna have to figure out how to work with them, with the AI being an extension of our limbic system, the connection between our limbic system and our cortex. That's where this is headed.
Well, it's kind of crazy because I think sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's years down the road." It's like, no, this shit's happening now. Not to change the subject, but there was some really cool shit that came out at CES.
What else was there? I want to hear some of these items.
There's a brand new TV, massive. It's like 65, 75 inch, whatever, enormous.
Wow.
LG. It's as thin as 3/4 stacked. So it's the thinnest. I mean, just think that's tiny. That's the thinnest TV.
We used to have these massive TVs.
I know, crazy, that were like this wide.
And I was like carrying it up the steps.
Yeah.
Like.
So this TV is 16 pounds.
Wow.
It can hang on the wall with a magnet. I mean, it's bonkers. And then they have that version, and they have one that rolls down into a box. So instead of having to where do we put the TV? You don't have to worry about that anymore. It rolls into a box, and then when you want to turn it on, it unrolls. It literally rolls. So it's just the most insane thing.
It's just like a sleeping bag TV. You can roll it up.
They call it wallpaper TV because it's like the...
Wow.
Yeah. And then the manufactured meat burger was the talk of the town, where it tasted exactly like a burger would, like a cow. But it was not. It was genetically engineered as a vegan burger. It was like people were freaking their shit at CES apparently over this burger.
Okay,
that it was like identical to the point where maybe we all need to be eating cows.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting too. How it incorporates into diet and food.
They have a robot that I was telling you, that the luggage follows you through the airport, so you don't have to hold it. Which I think that would cause some mass hysteria.
It would just be a lot of robots, pedaling around in the airport.
And then Hyundai came out with basically a transformer. It lifts up and then walks over things. It's very Star Wars.
Wow.
But that was cool.
But it's a transformer. Is it what does it do?
It's got legs and it walks over things.
It's like a robot.
It's really weird. It's literally a robot. The biggest thing at CES this year was AI-powered things. So any type of assistant, like the coffee maker turns on by you telling it, all that kind of stuff. They want to make everything smart home, smart vehicle. If you get a new vehicle nowadays, everything's got, the Google Assistant in it, all that kind of stuff, where you don't even have to do anything. Very autonomous kind of thing. right now where I'm like, I don't need to do anything. It's just, I just have to talk and things happen.
Yeah.
You know?
And that goes back to, again, you know, like we're giving everything over to AI and
who
within
knows
the
what's
home.
going on with it, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, with the home and stuff, that's so interesting too. Like just where is society going to be in 100 years just as far as the home? Like, are we going to still be living
100?
suburbia?
I mean, this shit's moving quick.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk 20 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
Here's the internet. And we didn't have internet growing up. We had it in middle school.
No, we didn't have
Not to like age ourselves, but I remember doing book reports.
Yeah.
And I would be like doing the bibliography, and they're like, cite your sources.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, World Wide Web.
Yeah.
Because my father is a writer, and we got the internet out of, you know, one of the first in Pennsylvania. And my teacher was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's a source on, and she thought I was cheating or something. I'm like, no, it's an actual, the World Wide Web is this thing, you know?
And it was so new.
So new. Alta Vista, Excite.com,
Yeah.
like all Ask Jeeves. Fuck, that shit was bonkers. It was great.
I would go on AOL, you know, the dial-up, and there were like profiles, and you could do a search. I was already like this crazy kid in computers, and I would do a search, and you could search for like math tutors. And so I would ask like math tutors on AOL in a chat room, you know, for advice on homework.
Were you not good at math?
I was good at math, but I went to a very challenging high school.
Was it
very challenging high school?
Private school?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like one of the boroughs, John Burroughs School in St. Louis, and it was it was.
I would have failed out miserably.
No.
I didn't get past Algebra 2.
You know,
I mean, I'm terrible, embarrassing.
You know what I was great at? The one subject that I was like extremely great at was geometry.
Oh.
And a lot of people.
You're either good at it or you're bad, and I was
I
the
was
latter.
so fast at geometry. I could like look at it and like be like just right through it. Other subjects I was just how my brain works.
See, like English, not that we're getting off subject, but reading comprehension and like English.
Yeah.
I was in middle school and reading at like a graduate level. So like that side of my brain functioned way higher, and then the math was like here. So my SATs were a gigantic mess because I was like, I'm way up here, but the math is like 0, you know.
But I think that that's important too, because not only is AI affect, you know, how in the past 20 years ago people going on AOL and such, but with the future, what it's going to do as far as education and schooling. More stuff is going online as far as just, you know, through apps and tutoring and advice about, you know, whatever people need in the world. It's becoming a different world in that people can, when we were in high school, the education was more liberal arts, you know, and it's still that way to a large degree, as you get a cross-section of all subjects. Well, it's starting to change a little bit where people are able to go online, you know, through AI, through, you know, different tech products and through apps, and be able to find exactly what they need online through a tutor, which means at any age, somebody can learn something through somebody with just an app, like really quick.
Right.
So AI is also accelerating our ability to learn.
Right, that's true.
And to learn quicker. And it's changing the way we do learn. Like, it's changing where our focus is and how to focus and where all that is, where we're changing as far as just, you know, how we learn and where education is going with it. So that's also something. Like, there was like subjects we were good at and subjects we were bad at. Well, in the future, we may not need to like worry about the bad subjects.
Right.
If it's not who you are, AI may help us, you know,
fill in the gap,
focus in and fill in the gap, so that we can earlier on start what we're good at.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and learn it from a young age.
I mean, really, who needs math anyways?
Who needs math? I mean, I was posting, you know, and there's just things that we need to learn that we don't learn, like taxes, like anything about that.
How to balance a checkbook.
How to balance a checkbook.
I don't think anybody balances checkbooks anymore. But, I mean, shit like that where nobody, you know, there's some high schools that are now taking proactive, like, hey, this is how you boil water. You know, like, kids are not the swiftest because they're here and everything's just on their phone. They're like, I don't know how to interact with the planet anymore.
Well, they're still...
And I'm a millennial, and so are you, but we're on like the, you know, we're not like millennials. Like the...
Correct. We're on the tail end of the millennial run. That's right. We are technically. But yeah, and I don't know, like, where that's going is really interesting. And there's just so much that we could have learned in school that we didn't learn. Just life skills, survival skills, you know, dating and romantic relationships. I didn't need to learn that. A lot of people.
You were a pro with that.
I had that down, but a lot of people.
That's on our next episode. Is relationships, and apparently Geoff is an old pro at the
got that one. But
sex, drugs, and alcohol, and like
you're
like I got it down.
Got it down.
Everything there is to know about relationships.
In even sex, drugs, and alcohol. I mean, all of that is stuff that is important. Now, they have health class. You know, I remember that we learned, like, but that stuff is so important. Like, that stuff...
Yeah.
And I feel like AI is helping us focus more and learn quicker. And it'll be interesting how it changes education. So yeah, I think
it's such a big topic, but I think it's really interesting. I think what I would caution our viewers and listeners is that don't become a robot. In the sense that still be a human being with your own mind and your own thoughts and emotions, and be able to turn off things and get outside. You know, like, go look at a tree, go look at the grass. Don't get so stuck in this isolated bubble where everything comes to you and you're like, I don't even talk to one person. Because that's what we haven't developed, is how to fix our brain when it comes to depression, isolation, loneliness. No AI is going to fix that right now, right? Replica won't even. You need to have social interaction with human beings like this. Yeah, we could do our podcast over video chat, but this is important. The energy of having one another is a very, very important thing. So as we go through the world and things start to come out, I would strongly recommend people to not so much take caution, but to still have that innate ability as a human being to want to venture outside and enjoy the earth itself and not get so consumed with robots.
And I think your point wraps this up well. And I think that what's great, at least in the first, we've done 10 episodes so far. And
hey, happy 10th episode.
Happy 10.
Did you get me a gift?
Oh, I didn't. But it's mailman. It's okay. It's on route. Right. We're gift giving. I think that it's fascinating how we're like our last guest, Kira. We had another Kira on, yes. And she was talking about it, very into spirituality and just connecting with the world and intuition. And have you noticed we have both. We go back and forth between talking about AI and tech and futuristic and Mandela, and then we also talk about spirituality and psychology and connection with the world. So, like, in the first 10 episodes, we want to help people understand the connections, like the future and the present, and like how those things tie together between, working on yourself, spirituality, doing yoga, doing meditation, staying in touch with yourself, and also being aware of futuristic tech, where things are going, but not losing yourself, staying connected to the arts and painting and drawing and whatever inspires you as a human. And that's the big theme here is kind of the future versus the present. And
it's like Lord of the Rings. When you look at if you've ever done like a deep dive of what the Lord of the Rings is, it's the machines, it's the future against the nature. And it's this constant power struggle.
Yeah.
And that's what the Lord of the Rings is about, basically.
So we're like the Lord of the Rings, and that's 100%.
That was a really good recap, though, of like what launch is, what we do with the podcast. Of like, hey, all this cool stuff is happening. How does that relate to who you are and self-actualization and
as a human,
a human being? Because you yourself is still a human being. You're not a robot. You may have robots working for you, around you. That doesn't mean you lose your sense of self.
That's right, and that's where we're going with
What's happening on Wednesday? Talk to us.
So my friend Jen, on Wednesday, my friend Jen Friel is having a gathering at Mrs. Fish Restaurant downtown, sushi place. It should be incredible. Yeah. We're going to be doing our next podcast there. It's like a live event. I'm still getting all of the details, but we are developing a cool topic, and we're going to be chatting about that topic and greeting people there. And this is just 10 episodes. I mean, next week, 11. Just gonna keep it.
I'm so excited.
Rolling.
I know, it's really cool that this is really like, we're getting really great feedback. People are inviting us to like certain things and like
we're having fun.
So fun. It's nice to have a brother from a different mother and you're like, hey.
My twin sister. My evil twin sister right here. See, she is. Brother and sister, twins. Absolutely.
Awesome topic today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll post this after, because it's a live feed, but also this is on YouTube, it's on SoundCloud, all that stuff. But definitely post, like, subscribe to the channel, but also write comments after, you know, like engage with what you think too on the YouTube videos, you know. Would love to hear your feedback.
We want to hear back from you guys. Anything and everything, we're open to it all. So thank you. This is Geoff.
This is Kira.
And we are Launch Radio. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.